Have you ever wondered how the Israel-Palestine conflict, one of the world's most enduring disputes, began? In the heart of the Middle East, two people, the Jews and the Arabs, have long-standing roots that stretch back to ancient times. Both communities have deep spiritual and cultural ties to this land, each with their unique narratives and histories. The Jews trace their beginnings to biblical times, their connection to the land cemented through sacred texts and traditions. Then came the Roman rule, which led to the diaspora of Jews far and wide, scattering them across the globe. Concurrently, the Arabs, with the rise of Islam in the 7th century, began to spread their influence across the Middle East, including this contentious piece of land. The Arab conquest was extensive, integrating the region into an Arab and Islamic world. This shared history and deep connection to the land set the stage for the conflict we see today. Fast forward to the Ottoman Empire in the 16th century, when things began to shift dramatically. The region that would eventually be the epicenter of the Israel-Palestine conflict was under Ottoman rule. This vast empire, with its capital in Constantinople, governed with a degree of tolerance towards the diverse religious groups within its territories, which included the Jews and Arabs of Palestine. As we venture into the late 19th and early 20th centuries, we witness an influx of Jewish immigrants into Palestine. This movement, known as the Zionist movement, was fueled by a desire to establish a Jewish homeland in response to anti-Semitism in Europe. This influx, however, did not go unnoticed by the Arab population, leading to rising tensions and sporadic violence. The face of the region was further altered by the cataclysmic events of World War I. The Ottoman Empire crumbled, and the British, under the guise of a League of Nations mandate, took control of Palestine. The British had made promises to both Jews and Arabs during the war, creating a complex web of expectations and entitlements. One of the most contentious of these promises was the Balfour Declaration of 1917. This document expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, a statement that ignited fierce debates and further inflamed Arab-Jewish relations. During the British Mandate period, the tensions escalated into more violent clashes as both Jews and Arabs vied for political and territorial control. The British, struggling to maintain peace, proposed various partition plans, but these were met with resistance from both sides. The stage was set for a more direct conflict, as the British Mandate ended and the question of who would control the land remained unanswered. 1948 marked a turning point in the history of the region, the establishment of Israel. After World War II, the United Nations proposed a partition plan in 1947, aiming to divide the British Mandate of Palestine into two separate states, one Jewish, one Arab. The Jewish Agency for Palestine accepted the plan, but it was rejected by Arab leaders and the Palestinian Arab population. The State of Israel was declared on May 14, 1948. The very next day, armies from Egypt, Syria, Transjordan, Lebanon and Iraq invaded, commencing what is now known as the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war resulted in an Israeli victory, but it also led to a significant displacement of Palestinian Arabs, a topic that continues to fuel tension today. We then fast forward to June 1967 and the Six-Day War. Israel, in a preemptive strike, dramatically defeated Egypt, Jordan and Syria, taking control of the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, East Jerusalem and the Golan Heights. This swift and decisive victory significantly expanded Israel's territory, but it also intensified the conflict with Palestinians who found themselves under Israeli occupation. The 1973 Yom Kippur War saw Egypt and Syria launch a surprise attack on Israel on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Despite initial gains by the Arab states, Israel managed to push back the invading forces and a ceasefire was eventually brokered, but not before both sides suffered heavy losses. These wars significantly reshaped the map of the Middle East. Israel's territorial gains sparked international controversy and further complicated the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The aftermath of these wars saw a shift in the dynamics of power in the region, the effects of which are still being felt today. The legacy of these conflicts continues to shape the political, social, and cultural landscape of the Middle East, highlighting the complexity of the Israeli-Palestinian issue. These wars significantly reshaped the map of the Middle East and further complicated the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Despite the seemingly endless conflict, there have been numerous attempts to broker peace. In the late 20th century, there were significant strides made towards a resolution. The Camp David Accords in 1978 was a pivotal moment. Brokered by US President Jimmy Carter, Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat, these accords laid the groundwork for a peace treaty between Egypt and Israel, the first of its kind between Israel and an Arab state. A decade and a half later, the Oslo Accords in 1993 and 1995 ushered in a period of optimism. These agreements, facilitated by the United States, Norway and Russia, established a framework for Palestinian self-government in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, for the first time, recognized each other's right to exist. However, the peace process has been fraught with difficulties. The late 90s saw the outbreak of the First and Second Intifadas, periods of intensified Palestinian-Israeli violence. The First Intifada, from 1987 to 1993, was characterized by civil unrest and protests. The Second Intifada, from 2000 to 2005, was more militarized, leading to a significant loss of life on both sides. These intifadas had a profound impact on the peace process. They led to a hardening of attitudes and a loss of trust, making negotiations even more challenging. The expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank, considered illegal under international law, has also been a major stumbling block. These settlements have been seen by Palestinians and many in the international community as a direct impediment to peace, as they encroach on land envisaged for a future Palestinian state. The roadmap for peace proposed by the United States, European Union, United Nations and Russia in 2003 aimed to address these issues. It proposed a phased approach, with both sides making concessions to pave the way for a two-state solution. However, this roadmap has been fraught with setbacks, with both sides accusing the other of failing to meet their obligations. The quest for peace is a complex puzzle, with each piece interlocked with another, making it difficult to isolate one issue without impacting the others. Despite these challenges, the pursuit of peace continues, driven by the hope that a resolution can be found. Both Israel and Palestine have a rich history and a deep connection to this land. It is this shared love for the land that fuels the dream of a peaceful coexistence. The path to peace remains elusive, with each side holding firm to their claims and grievances. But hope springs eternal, and the desire for peace remains a beacon guiding the efforts of all involved. As we stand today, the conflict remains unresolved, with both sides far from a final agreement. Let's take a closer look at the present situation. Jerusalem, a city of immense historical and religious significance, is a focal point of the conflict. Israel asserts the entire city as its eternal, indivisible capital, while Palestinians aspire to establish East Jerusalem as the capital of a future Palestinian state. Meanwhile, the Gaza Strip, under Hamas control since 2007, is home to nearly 2 million Palestinians living under severe economic and humanitarian conditions. Israel, citing security concerns, maintains a blockade that restricts the movement of people and goods, contributing to the hardship. In the West Bank, another major area of contention, Israeli settlements continue to expand. These settlements, considered illegal under international law, create friction and often lead to violent confrontations. Recent years have seen some significant developments. The Abraham Accords, brokered by the United States in 2020, marked a diplomatic breakthrough. Several Arab states normalized relations with Israel, which may shift regional dynamics. However, these agreements do not directly address the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, leaving the core issues unresolved. Turning to the future, the path ahead appears fraught with challenges. Expert analysis suggests different potential scenarios. Some envision a two-state solution, with Israel and an independent Palestine living side by side in peace. Others predict a one-state reality where Israel effectively controls all the territory, but grapples with how to maintain its Jewish and democratic character while incorporating a large Palestinian population. Informed speculation also considers the possibility of a confederation between Jordan, Israel, and a future Palestine. Some even contemplate a binational state where Israelis and Palestinians share power. Each scenario carries its own set of complexities and potential pitfalls, There's also the role of the international community, which could be instrumental in facilitating negotiation and compromise. However, the question remains, how can external actors encourage constructive dialogue without imposing solutions that may not be acceptable to the people most affected? The history of the Israel-Palestine conflict is complex and intertwined, but understanding it is crucial for envisioning a path towards peace.